Hello, my name is Eleanor. Welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. It has been well over a year since I've posted a video here on YouTube. I did post a short about 8 months ago, but I know most people don't really see that unless you're actively looking at shorts. I had an accidental, unplanned hiatus. I got really ill. I got back from my trip to Thailand last July, caught COVID again, and my health has just imploded. I've got some diagnoses and stuff. I'm working with my new chronic illnesses that I have. I'm not 100% better, but I'm living with it, coping with it, pacing myself. And I've really missed being in this YouTube space. I really wanted to be in this space over this last year, but due to chronic fatigue and brain fog, I have not been reading anything until quite recently. Not for lack of trying. I did try and film a video in December last year with the optimism that I would be able to, with the optimistic idea that I'd be able to come back then, but it just didn't happen because even if I did manage to film a little bit of clips here and there, I couldn't string it together in a video. And I definitely think you've missed the cats more than me. It's been over a year since you've seen Haku. He's just over 2 years old and he's now massive, aren't you? Just such a big boy. And you know Calcifer's a bit shy, so he may or may not make an appearance this video. So yes, I'm very rusty out of practice. I don't have a clear plan going forward of what I'm going to be doing with this channel. I'm going to be reading as and when I can and when the mood strikes, and I will film as and when I can and post. But even when I was here regularly, it was very inconsistent, so I hope you stick around. And yeah, if you have any suggestions about videos you'd like to see, let me know in the comments and I'll see about making them work if they work. I don't know. I just thought this video would be a good little comeback video, and I'll just mention a couple of the books that I've read over the last little while and take it from there. The books I want to talk about first were the first 4 volumes in The Girl from the Other Side manga series by Nagabe. I bought the first one a couple of years ago and I read it and I was interested in continuing on, but buying individual manga volumes can get quite pricey. But last June 2024, I was down in London in Forbidden Planet and I treated myself to the next 3 volumes because there was a deal, I think. Was it buy 2 get 1 free or something like that? So I reread the first one and then continued on and read the next 4. I would like to continue on with this series, but it's not a series I'm ever really going to fully forget what's going on. It's not a very complicated story. I might just buy volumes as and when I see them and see if I can get them secondhand or something. It's quite a long series, as is the way with manga usually. But the artwork is very sweet and I'm quite enjoying these kind of stories. I'll just read the blurb in case this interests you. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there were 2 kingdoms. The outside, where twisted beasts roamed that could curse with a touch, and the inside, where humans lived in safety and peace. The girl and the beast should never have met, but when they do, a quiet fairy tale begins. This is the story of 2 people, one human, one inhuman, who linger in the hazy twilight that separates night from day. So it's a little bit spooky and creepy, and there's, some darker elements to it, but it is very much a quiet fairy tale. I think that describes it perfectly, and the art style is lovely, and because they're manga, they can be read quite quickly. The next book I want to talk about is Sister, Maiden, Monster by Lucy A. Snyder. I did quite enjoy this book, but I wasn't quite expecting the format it was in. It's actually told in 3 parts, and you're following 3 different women, the sister, the maiden, and the monster, and in hindsight, it is divided that way in the blurb on the back. It does have a paragraph for each of the women that you're following, but I didn't expect it to be 3 basically short stories, and there was a little bit of interlinking between them, but yeah, I was expecting one bigger kind of cohesive story. This is a horror. It's a very Lovecraftian horror, if that's a way to describe it. It's really quite disturbing in some of its matter that it's talking about. It's quite a nightmarish world. There's a virus, tears through the globe, and it fundamentally changes people and makes them like zombies and sort of, and they want to eat other humans and like they kill for their brains and things like that. It's quite nightmarish. So it's a very adult themed story. You'd need to read the trigger warnings. I did enjoy the kind of complexities of what was going on, but it is very eldritch horror, higher beings, kind of big picture kind of thing. And yeah, I wish there was a bit more of a conclusion to the story, but I did really enjoy it for what it was. And then I was kind of feeling the horror kind of apocalyptic vibes. I read The Offset by Calder Sizwak. Definitely haven't pronounced that correctly. I have had this book for quite a while. I think I got it secondhand somewhere and the blurb did kind of appeal to me, but I've just never picked it up. I don't really think I took the time to look into what it was really about, and I think perhaps thought it was maybe more, I don't know, not really my kind of thing. But as it's a standalone, I thought I should pick it up and just get it off my shelves and see. I ended up enjoying this a lot more than I expected to. The blurb starts, it's your 18th birthday and one of your parents must die. You are the one who decides. Who do you pick? In a dying world, the offset has been introduced to discourage procreation. For every birth, there must be a death. This really reminded me of a young adult series, the first book called The Declaration. I should have looked it up before filming. I can't remember the author's name. I read the first one or two books of that where it's a world where they have discovered the secrets of longevity, so people aren't dying of old age. And yeah, you're not allowed to have children. And if you do decide to have children, then one of the parents must die. It's a one for one replacement of the child that you've chosen to bear. And you're following children who've been abandoned because the parents didn't want to choose someone to die. And they're in a kind of workhouse, orphanage kind of thing. And they end up becoming like maids and butlers and servers of like the wealthy, because they're wealthy because they live a long time. It did give me that kind of vibe in the beginning. The young girl, Miri, when she's 18, or no, when she's 16, she runs away from home because she doesn't want to make the decision on her 18th birthday. She really resents her parents for choosing to have her, even though it's discouraged, and it means that on her 18th birthday she has to choose one of them to die. I did really like the representation. The main family dynamic in here is two married women, and the daughter that they choose to have, through science, both women were genetic parents of the daughter, and I love that. And I liked the little twist of it being because it was two women's DNA that went into having a child, they could only ever have a biological daughter. That was interesting. I did enjoy the fact that this was set in the UK. It was mostly set in London, so it was very English, British centric in terms of environment and language and like culture and things like that. I thought it was quite good. Yeah, and it's just talking about the climate crisis, ways to kind of mitigate the overabundance of carbon dioxide in the air, and it's about planting trees in Greenland and things like that and trying to solve this problem. My only critique is that I just wish it went into more depth about what was going on a little bit, but I think that might have been too much to ask for because of the viewpoint you're following. It is very narrow in scope, even though you're talking about this bigger, wider world issue, and I do feel like it ends rather abruptly. On one hand, you think it's quite a definitive end, it answers the question of the book, but I would have liked to have seen some of the aftermath. I'm being vague for no spoilers, but it was one that I definitely enjoyed, and it was a surprise to me because I'd never come across it until I found it secondhand in a charity shop, I believe. And then the last book I want to talk about today is Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. I got this from one of my Waypoint book subscription boxes. Thank you so much to Hannah. I will leave her channel down below and the link to her website. Please support her small bookshop online. It's fantastic, and I've had some really amazing books from there. I was sold by this by some reviews I saw online. This is another horror, and I really liked the cover. It took me a moment to realise that it's a mountainside, but it's the profile of a person screaming. I would definitely warn you to read on the trigger warnings before picking this up. There might be some religious themes in here that will be triggering for you, and it mostly centres around a gay conversion camp in a kind of American setting. So there's a lot of religious undertones and very overt practices about conversion therapy, and it's, yeah, love is real, demons are real, kill the demons. And yeah, it's just about a very most effective conversion camp in Montana. It's got a 100% success rate, and it's about a young woman who just starts sucking up flies, which is a very graphic depiction that you get quite early on in the book. And she starts to kind of unravel what was going on with this conversion camp. It's a horror, a lot goes down, and the first tagline, talking about demons or being real, really explains where this story is going and what direction it'll take. I will say, from my point of view, the first third of this story was a little bit slow. I know there needs to be a lead up, a build up, but I felt it was a bit too slow and a bit too breadcrumby with what was going on. But once we kind of hit the kind of finding out the information, really delving into what was going on at this conversion camp and investigating things, it really sucked me in, and I flew through the last portion of the book. I really enjoyed this. I liked the characters. I think it raised a lot of really interesting questions about religion and about sexuality and how people are born this way, and you can't change these fundamental parts of people. And yeah, you need to be wary of cults, basically. I really enjoyed this, and yeah, thanks again to Waypoint Books. It took me over a year and a half probably to get around to reading it, but I appreciate it nonetheless. So yeah, this is just a short and sweet video to say that I'm back, and I don't know when my next video will be, but it hopefully won't be over a year away. I will aim to try and do at least one video a month. I believe I can commit to that. So this is the video for August. I hope you stick around. Let me know in the comments if there's any videos that you would like to see from me, any topics you'd like me to discuss, or books that you think I would like to read. Let me know what you're reading in the comments. I'd love to have a chat with you. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.